Yo, is the camera on? I think the camera's on. Yo, it's Ray. What's up? I think I'm doing a little bit better. When I mean a little bit better, I mean like I stopped crying. I stopped feeling like shit. I stopped feeling like depressed. Well, I'm still depressed. I'm always depressed. Always stuck with unfortunate thoughts that I wish I was not. Yet I am unfortunately plagued with those kinds of thoughts. Anyway, y'all, welcome to Cooking with Ray. I am your host or hostess or host person. I think does host person? Host person sounds probably a lot better. Anyway, we'll get into the intro real quick. I'm just gonna let y'all know I appreciate y'all commenting and liking and subscribing, and I hope to have more. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you want 100 billion yen before you die. That'd be nice. I think anyone would want 100 billion yen. It's like, I think like 100 million USD. What the hell, dude? Okay, what were we freaking doing? Okay. Anyway, welcome to Toni Okamoto's coconut curry recipe. Hope you enjoy it. I just hit my camera. I'm probably gonna log out of my freaking accounts. Oh my god. We gotta get to it. Hey yo, my name is Ray. This is Streaming Bear. I'm sorry, I have autism and I don't know where this video is gonna go with, but I like to cook, so I just went to the grocery store. So I'm going to do like a little bit of a dinner recipe tonight. Just to let you know, I have autism. I'm trans. I go by they them pronouns, and I'm old, 30, and I should not be having teddy bears, but I have teddy bears. I also do like gardening and a bunch of other stuff aside from vlogging and playing RuneScape. But today, we are going to work on making a Crockpot meal I found on the internet. The resources for those descriptions will be in the description below if you're curious. I've already made this before. I really like it. So we're going to make it my way, how I would change it up, and how I would make it a little bit better. So, let's get on to it. Let's go put Streaming Bear in a chair. And she's just going to like chill out right there. So, she'll be good. We'll just put her up. There we go. All right, what are we going to need for this coconut curry? Well, obviously you're going to need, I think, like 2 or 3 cups of a russet potato or Yukon potato, pretty much any kind of potato, diced. So we'll peel it first, then we'll dice it up. I am going to use 6 cloves of garlic that I'm going to peel, slice, and chop and mince. And I'm pretty much going to use up this whole onion. I do have other onion. This is a sweet onion, but a yellow onion is what you want, but they're pretty much the same thing. So if you get something like this and you get like 2 or 3 cups of it diced, then that's probably okay. It's really not going to matter if you use a sweet onion or a yellow onion. They're pretty much the same thing, except one is like kind of like neutral flavor and then one's like slightly sweet. Now the recipe calls for 1 whole cup of this, but I just use the whole can because I kind of like a little thinner consistency because I'm just gonna add the rice into the curry later on. But the recipe does call for 1 cup of this, not the whole can. You're also gonna want 2 cups of baby carrots that we were going to slice all the way through. I don't think I have about 2 cups, so I'll just use whatever I have. And then you're going to want 1 inch of this. So you're going to want to peel it off and then like, I guess mince it. I'm not sure if you're supposed to put this back in the fridge. It's kind of like dry now, but it should be fine. This is also the onion that I had like earlier. So I'll probably use up this first before starting to go into this one. So you're also gonna want some cubed tofu. This is already tofu I seasoned This is the first time I tried making tofu, so I made into a crumble scramble instead of how tofu is supposed to be for this dish. So I will leave like some videos on how to make tofu in the description below, but I am not giving my recipe because it was terrible and I don't know how to make tofu properly. You're gonna need 2 tablespoons of red curry paste and a bouillon cube. So I just use this one. Vegetable, by the way. And then you're gonna need 1 tablespoon of canola oil. So I'll just use this one. I think that's gonna be it. So I guess I'll clean out my pot and then we'll start making stuff. Okay, so first off, you're going to want a liquid measuring cup. So for water or milk or whatever. You're going to want a chopping knife, a smaller knife, paring knife, a peeler, 1 tablespoon and 1 teaspoon. And of course, a cutting board. So first off, we're gonna go ahead and start with the 1 tablespoon of canola oil, 3 cups of diced yellow onions, the 6 minced garlic cloves, the 1-inch minced ginger, then a 1 vegetable bouillon cube with 2 tablespoons of red curry paste, following 1 can of this coconut milk with 1 teaspoon of salt, following 2 cups of water, 3 cups of diced potatoes, 3 cups of halved baby carrots, and then the 1 cup of tofu. And then after that, I'm gonna add something to it afterwards, but that'll be a secret. So let's get started. So we got our tablespoon. By the way, if you couldn't tell, I'm left-handed. So we'll just go ahead and pour in the, wait, there's something in here. Ugh. The full tablespoon of canola oil. Then we'll just put it in our crock pot. Something I didn't think of was getting like a bowl or something to put this in so the oil doesn't drip. So I'm gonna have to do that too as well. Next thing's next. Forgot our 1 cup measurement cup. All right, pulling this out. Now I'm not really too sure what's the best way to cut an onion. My way is really different from what other people do. But first of all, I'm gonna use this knife to chop. And then I'll more than likely use this knife to dice it later on. Because this is actually a sharper blade. I don't know what kind of blade this is. I think it's like a Japanese blade. I've had this for a while now. And I like it. So I kind of want to cut it into slivers. I actually cut myself. The only time I usually cut myself on a knife is when I'm trying to like teach people how to cook and stuff. Oh, I can't zoom in or out. Okay, fortunately for me, it wasn't too bad. I mean, it can like bleed, but it's not that too bad. I don't have like a Band-Aid, but I'm not sharing this with anyone, and I don't have AIDS or HIV, but under normal circumstances, I would recommend, if you're not cooking for yourself, to get a Band-Aid immediately. But it's fine for me, because I'm the only one that's going to eat this dish. So after I sliced it down, yeah, this blade is like really sharp. I'm going to be honest with you. Give her a secondary blade. So we're just going to like chop it up like here. And it should be good to go. We can just add it into the bowl. Some of them aren't exactly like diced completely, but it'll be fine. It's not that big of an issue, but most of it will be diced like this. And we're gonna do this for 3 cups. So basically we're just gonna cut the pieces in here, crush it down until we get 3 cups, and then we'll put the 3 cups inside our crock pot for here. So I'll go ahead and do that off camera. So I wanted to like talk about this real quick. So when you peel it, you want to peel it all the way until you feel like soft, rubbery flesh. I'm sure you can keep like the paper, like this outer area. But for me, like texture-wise, like with autism, it's like, it really triggers me and it feels weird to eat paper. So I like just having the flesh as is. So what you want to do when you're cutting a new onion is to cut it in half lengthwise. And then just hold one end, take your bigger blade, and then kind of like go like in between the head right here. And just cut down. It's not gonna be a perfect cut, and that's okay. But you wanna make these into manageable sizes. So now we have 4 easily manageable sides that come together to form the original onion, but in fourths. And then you have one manageable, you know, piece you can dice any way you want. Just a pro tip. And we're done. Let's move on to the next step. If you have a lot of extra, you can go ahead and just put it in this container. I'm gonna have to like chop this up and dice it for later for another recipe, which I'll probably do at a later time because I'm starving, but I have a lot to edit, so we'll move on. But that's what I would do. I put this in a larger container or put this in the same container that you had another one in and just dice it up. It'll be fine. And it is normal for this to be like full looking. It'll cook down a little bit, but that's only as it cooks, so we'll probably leave this at the bottom so it can do that. 6 minced garlic. So I'm gonna get a whole garlic clove and then we'll peel it. So what I recommend is trying to just pull it up like this, where you can just spread it that way, like this. Eventually you'll get like a whole bit of flake off. And it'll kind of reveal like all these cloves. That's like how I like to get my garlic cloves like peeled. So then we have like all this on the table and we throw it out. And I usually put this like in a small bowl and just leave it in the cabinet as is. For me, it's like a little bit of texture thing. So it's kind of like with the onion situation again, where I just don't like it. But I think like it's kind of okay if you get like a little bit of it. But we'll go ahead and try to get 6 cloves off. And then we'll start right here. Just pull. Oh, wow. This one's like, okay. Sometimes you might have to push it, but there we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7. So you'll kind of have like a clove like this is normal. Like I said, put it in a small bowl, put it in the cabinet, up in wherever, and it'll be fine as is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that, okay, so I cut off 7. It took me a while for me to figure out, but okay, it's okay. It's okay if I cut off 7. So there's like a special way to peel off all of the skin. I haven't quite figured it out yet, so I kind of just like rub it off. There's like a little bit on here, and then I just use my nails because I am female. I have like long hands. But this is kind of what it looks like peeled if you never made your own garlic. Now you can use non-fresh garlic with this recipe, but you will never have any as good as garlic if it's not fresh. I mean, it's like it's okay if it's like that's the only thing for garlic that you have. But yeah, so you can use non-fresh minced garlic, but I always find it always better to have minced garlic that you've minced yourself. I think that's always the best course of action to do. So I'll go ahead and get this peeled, and then we'll go down to cutting it. Okay, so what I would recommend with this is take your big knife. What you're gonna do is you're just going to, actually, never mind. So what you're gonna do with your knife, you're just gonna slice off little bits at a time in chunks. Just like this, like slivers. Watch where you're gonna cut. For some reason, I can't zoom in any more than what I can do, but you're just gonna have to trust that I know that I'm cutting it. I'll show you on the board when I get up to that point. Okay, so once you have your slivers, you'll take your big knife and you'll kind of like crunch it down into little bits. Kind of like this. So basically you're just chopping it bit by bit. And then when you get like spread out kind of like this and your blade has so much pieces on it, just clean it off. Make sure you got this piece down where the blade is on the ground. So when you're swiping stuff like this, because if you swipe it with the blade down like this, you'll dull the blade, and you don't want to dull your blade. So just kind of like put it back into bit. So instead of doing horizontal like we did this way, we'll cut it vertically this way. And then again. So we'll rinse and repeat one more time horizontally and then vertically, and then we'll add this to the pot. Okay. And you should have a crock pot that looks like this now. All right. So I used this before. This side is like extra dry. So I'm not really a math genius. Even though I do have autism, I'm not great with maths, but I have a ruler. We need 1 inch, but I'm probably gonna slice off all the way down to here. That's gonna be about 2 inches, but I'm gonna lose about half of that when I try to peel it. So, and especially to cut this part. So, I'll slice this off. And then we end up with about 4 random parts, 3 little small digits that we're gonna have to peel off, and 1 big piece, and we're gonna add all this. We'll probably cut off this little hard part too, because we don't want that because that's dry and it's not fresh. So just let you know, it is going to be a little bit harder to slice off it once it's dry, because that means it's just really rough, especially when you're cutting off that little amount. But now we have 1 big piece. We'll throw this out. So I don't know if you can hear. I live in an old building, so I asked the people above me to not walk around their room with shoes on, and they're doing it right now, but I'll manage. So sorry if you hear that. It's a really old building. It's like 100-year-olds. It kind of is what it is. But anyway, we're gonna go ahead and swipe this. So we'll go use this. Be careful with your fingers. That's why it's better to like peel. Just be careful, you know, I don't know if anyone's working out for OSHA, but, you know, I'm not exactly, just be careful, but just peel off with that. You can also use a paring knife as well, but that might be a little bit safer. With the paring knife, you gotta be careful, because if you cut off like a whole bunch, you might not know what you're slicing off, like you're slicing into the vegetables, but what you wanna do is you wanna scrape it like that. Like flint and steel. I don't know if you were in, like, anyone here was in Boy Scouts or like Girl Scouts, where you were like using a knife on a flint to start a fire. It's kind of what we want to do. So I'll go ahead and do that off camera, because I don't want to, like, I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say though. Okay, so like last time, we're going to go ahead and slice through here and then mince it like before. So, but this is hard. So normally I would use the smaller knife. It's a little bit difficult because it is ginger. I don't know if you've ever cut ginger in your life, but this is like kind of like dense. So like I use this one because it's sharper, and I can slice off little bits by bits. Just be careful because you're using like a larger knife on like usually a smaller piece. So we sliced them, and now we're gonna go ahead and mince it. We'll start this way. Now, just to let you know, this is gonna be a little bit harder. Just because it's ginger, it's more dense. So expect to be trying to mince this more than you would normally do it. All right. Go ahead and put this in here. So now we're gonna put our 1 cube of bouillon. Pull up the paper. Now with this type of brand, it kind of didn't like dissolve fully. So I want to kind of put this one into chunks, even though I really don't need to, because it'll just cook itself out. But I didn't like the consistency
of like how it was coming out. So I'm just gonna chop it into little chunks with this particular bouillon. So that way it gets like an even distribution for cooking. I know that's such a weird thing to complain about since I just put it into like diced, but this will be fine. This will ensure like an even dissolving, if that makes sense, like a dissolving into the water dish. And 2 tablespoons curry paste. This is a good brand, by the way, but I want to find like a more like ethnic kind, I guess, because this is like a standardized like Asian brand. So there's really no good way to do this. I usually use the paring knife to pull bits up from here in order to pull it out and then putting it onto said measuring spoon. Where did I put my tablespoon? I need some water, by the way. So right here is my measuring spoon. So I'm pulling up on it with the knife and I'm adding it onto top. And then I'm gonna like flatten it out to make sure that that is a full tablespoon. So we'll do 2 of these. We'll basically like scoop it in. Or you can just, you know, standardize, like smash it like this. Let me get the extra one and then we'll move on. Now, I can't believe I forgot about this, but you're going to need a can opener. So, to open up your can of coconut milk. And like I said, I'm left-handed, so this is gonna look really janky but here we go. So you gotta hold it like this, and then you gotta crank it, like right here. This is what it's like to be left-handed. Oh my god. Why aren't you opening? You just gotta hold it kind of weird like this. I don't know why this looks ridiculous, but the annoying part is sometimes with these cans, like you don't know if you're gonna get like, oh, okay. I just lost some of my coconut milk. Okay, there we go. There we go. I did it. It was really hard, but I did it. My table. I recycle cans in this house, but I already expect me to clean up this table. It's already a mess, but it's my mess. So anyway, sometimes you'll get like mixed stuff, but just to be on the safe side, I'm gonna use my paring knife, and then we'll just add it in. The last brand that I had wasn't like the last brand that I had actually wasn't like, it wasn't like mixed, like it was kind of like sitting on the shelf for, I don't know, extended period of time. This one just kind of like did its own thing. So let me take 5, let me clean up my table, and then we'll move on. We're back, we cleaned up a little bit. I did add in the 1 teaspoon of salt, the 1 teaspoon of salt. So we'll go ahead and move on to the potatoes, my favorite part, your favorite part, the hardest part of this whole dish. I mean, it's not really hard, it's just kind of long. So I don't know if you know this, but you can easily cut like half of the potato, because I do grow potatoes. I am a gardener, a farmer. If you've ever looked at my channel, you know my main thing is a farmer. So in order to save a potato that you just want to use for later, it's okay to slice off a piece and then leave it in a paper towel in a dark place, and it will prevent it from molding. It'll stick to the paper towel, and that'll kind of like make sure it doesn't like deteriorate. And what you'll notice is that it'll have like a soft, fleshy outer texture, and that means that it's sealing properly, so that way you can like grow it later on. So you're gonna like slice off a bit of it because you don't want this part. This part isn't what you want. But the first thing we'll do is slice it off, and then we'll peel it. Now you can peel it towards you or away. It doesn't really matter, but be careful if you're gonna peel it towards this way, because you might cut yourself So I would recommend further away like this. We're gonna want 3 cups of this. So let me do the peeling and then I'll show you the chopping. Okay, so I kind of want to like go over how I do this. So first of all, you want to slice this way. You want to keep slicing all the way down until you get fully around like this. So we'll keep slicing it lengthwise. You got to be careful with your potatoes. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't know why, but I'm just kind of like nervous with doing this, so it's like I don't usually record myself. So now that we got to this point, there's an easy way of doing this. Just take the potato head and just kind of like go down on it like that. I got a little piece in here. You're just gonna like slice like downwards. And then the other end. Okay, now I'm gonna have to clean up my table because normally I peel this in the trash over here instead of on the table. So let me get these cleaned up. You can either save these and then stick them in some like oil, salt, and pepper, and then put them in the oven, and you'll get like shavings of potato chips. But my oven doesn't work, so I don't do that. So, but you can take these shavings and you can like make like broth out of it, potato broth. I'm told that this is kind of good, but like that's not my thing, so I don't. But instead, what I'll do is I can put this in a compost bin and then add it to my soils instead of just completely throwing it away. So that's probably what I'll end up doing. But I think most people would just end up throwing it away. Instead, just get a compost bin and just put it in the compost bin and, you know, give it to somebody. Because sharing is caring. Caring. God bless it. I'm not a Karen. Okay, so we want to cut these pretty thick and, like, generously. Because if we cut them too small, our potatoes will kind of be, like, not as meaty. So for this end piece, I'll just cut this like this. I'll leave the chunks as is, chunky and thick, and I could just shove them into the pot like that. So like for this, I find that dicing them in such thick measurements, like these kind of things, like you're making steak fries, is kind of like the best way that you want to like put potatoes into your curry. And you'll thank me later for that because they won't deteriorate. They'll keep their shape because you're going to have it boiling through the crock pot. And you don't want to have mushy soup. You want thick, big pieces that are going to be really great. If you make them, like I said, so if you make them too small, they'll kind of like go into stew. So leave them in good chunks. Leave them in good chunks. You don't have to make them in diced pieces. There's other ways to cut it. This is just happening when I do it. Another way is I like to just cut them off into pieces like this, where I'm cutting them off from the outer layer. Don't even know if you can see that. And then I get left with pieces like this. This is kind of like a standard curry cut for potatoes, but it's whatever you want to do. Play with it. Do whatever size you want. Just remember to leave them in big bite-sized pieces. Otherwise, some of them will dissolve into the curry dish themselves instead of remaining their size. I'm gonna go ahead and do this off camera. Oh, I made a boo-boo. It's fine, it's fine. You want to measure them in the cup, but I'll be honest, like 2.5 potato sizes like this is probably gonna be 3 cups of potatoes for curry anyway, so that's just let you know. We are on the second to last. We'll probably use up all these. I don't think I'll keep them. So you want to cut them lengthwise. So like this way, if that makes sense, without slicing off my fingers. And making sure you get a uniform cut down to the middle. Just add it into your cup. You want 3 cups of this. This should be pretty much all of what we're using. It gets kind of weird. Like it feels weird to do it. You can easily cut off your fingers if you're not watching what you're doing. So be careful with what you're doing so that you don't slice off your fingers. God bless it, dude. I don't know why I just had like a janky, like random like thing. So yeah, we'll do this until we get about 3 cups. It looks like we're gonna get less. I probably should have got more, but I'm not too concerned with it. It's gonna be a fine curry dish. I already put like 3 cups of like potatoes in there diced. You know, it doesn't really matter if I have less than what I should. I love carrots. It doesn't bother me texture-wise. Like, I can eat them raw as long as I have it in ranch dressing. Vegetarian vegan Ray here's like, yeah, I love ranch dressing. My mom calls me Condiment Kid for those who are new to my channel, by the way. So I used to put like a lot of weird things. So, FYI, side trip, while I'm cutting this down. So, I used to have a very favorite sandwich. My mom would ask me if I got like knocked up and pregnant sometimes. She would joke like that, even though I'm trans and can't get pregnant, unfortunately, and I want kids, but I'm also not financially stable, beside the point. So I had like a favorite like get off of school like type of like meal that I would like to have for a snack. It was like a PB&J, so like I'd had 2 bread, I put like a slice of peanut butter on it, and then I would add in sriracha sauce, honey, ranch dressing, and then slice up a banana to put in there with some crunched up cashews or peanuts themselves and put it in the sandwich. And then I would eat it. I would have some jam in there as well. So I'd have like strawberry or blueberry or grape jelly. And mom would be like really gross. And she used to call me Condiment Kid because I put ranch dressing like on everything. Yeah, so we got about 1.5 or so cups of this, but it'll be okay. I'm not really too concerned. I just didn't feel like buying another bag. I'm sure it comes in larger quantities, but that's how to do it. What am I gonna do with this bag? I'm gonna recycle it. I'm gonna put it in my recycling container because I do have a recycling container. We recycle in this house. But yeah, you should have a big heavy pot like this. This is really heavy, by the way. So we'll move on to adding our tofu. So I'm just gonna add on this whole tofu like this. And then we're gonna finally add water. So pro tip, run the water hot until it's like completely hot, and then fill up 2 cups of water. This is exactly 2 right up here. Or 500 milliliters, or whatever it is, parts of water. And then we'll go ahead and take this to the crock pot. Okay, this kind of looks kind of weird, but I promise you it's completely edible. Go ahead and take this. I'm gonna try to mix this up. I'm gonna turn it on high so it starts warming up. But you should have something like this. It's okay that it looks weird, it looks kind of gross. It's gonna taste good later on. Now, while this is heating up, I'm gonna go get my secret weapon, and we're gonna make this a little bit spicier than I like it to be. So this is, I mostly like it the way that she's got it written, but I like to add a little bit more spice to my coconut curry. But this is what the consistency is supposed to look like. And we're gonna go ahead and leave this on high for about 3 hours, or you can put it on low and set it for 6 hours. Set a timer for 3 hours. Now, when you're trying to take this up and mix it around, you probably want to get like a mitt, and then make sure you have a mitt on, and when you're picking it up, don't pick it up like this, because then the steam will come into you. Pick it up like this, away, so the steam goes this way instead of towards you, or alternatively like this. Whichever way is more convenient and easier, so long as this glass is in front of you, so that way the steam doesn't get to you. So yeah, I'll show you my indoor garden. What's left of it anyway. There's no more pak choi inside. And there's not as many like pineapple plants because I suck at growing pineapples. I just suck at a lot of growing things in general. This is my living room. It's a bit of a mess. I'll show you maybe just, I guess, look on these are grow lights, by the way. Those are potatoes that are still technically growing. I think some of them died, but it looks like some of them like re-rooted themselves to soil. So hopefully the potatoes will get a little bit bigger. I harvest them, but I wanted them a little bit bigger because they were still kind of like bulbous. So they should grow indoors here. I do have Cora and Lily. This is Lily. And she's a Havasu pepper plant. This one's also a Havasu pepper plant. This one's name is Cora. Cora has 2 big peppers that are about ready to pull out. This one right here, and then this one right here. I don't know. After this pepper grows, I'm going to start pruning the Cora here. So that way she can continuously grow, but she's not yanked down by her own weight. With the same thing with Lily here. When these are fully mature and ready to be plucked, I'll start pruning Lily as well. That's a good stalk on both of them, by the way. I know it's a weird type of channel, you know, living with Ray, but if I didn't share my apartment with plants, I probably would have a worse, I guess, mental health. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and just yank up, pull my Havasu pepper. Oh, this one's going to be there we go. Snapped off. I'm sorry, Cora, I hurt you. It's okay. There was another one here, but this one kind of fell off, unfortunately. So that's not going to mature. But once this last pepper plant matures, we'll overwinter it, which means we'll prune it. And then when it gets warm, when winter's away, we'll go ahead and stick them back in the ground and transplant them out to my flower beds. But for now, they'll be like this. These are the best peppers ever. So if you're going to grow different varieties of peppers, things to note, you want them a little bit further away than what you normally think because they can cross-pollinate each other. And that means you can have, like, for instance, a Havasu pepper and a jalapeno pepper, and they can mix together, Havasu pepper and the jalapeno pepper. You'll probably get a little bit more sweetness. I mean, well, you'll lose the sweetness because Havasu peppers are essentially sweet peppers with a different kind of pepper plant. These are really spicy. They smell great, and they're really delicious. And I actually love everything about gardening. It's been a pleasure, but I'm going to put these in here in my dish, and they're going to, like, get heated up. So we'll wash them off, and then I'll probably slice them up and leave them in their slices. I'll even add the seeds in as well. Normally I save seeds, but for this type of coconut curry dish, I want it to be really spicy. So I'm going to, instead of harvesting and saving my Havasu pepper seeds so I can grow more Havasu plants next spring to summer, I'll have these for spice in my coconut curry. Finished slicing up. I washed my hands thoroughly. I probably still didn't wash enough thoroughly, but always wash your hands thoroughly when you're cutting up peppers so that way you don't get any of that in your eyes because that shit burns. That's not good for you. Anyway, we'll go ahead and just add this to the pot, and then we'll probably take a quick break, go to the bathroom, and I'll see y'all in 3 hours. And of course, I'll have my cleanup done before then. After about 3 hours, this is kind of what you look like. I did eat some before recording this, and I actually shared some with a girlfriend of mine who came over. Maddie came over from Journal Entry 17. It's the first time I seen her. I like hanging out with her because we're both autistic. We're both autistic women with autism, on the autism spectrum. And we, we're not neurotypical, so we always usually recharge each other. And I've been showing her how I've been adulting myself and slowly getting my house cleaned up, which makes me really happy. Of course, I still got a lot of stuff to clean up, but sriracha, that is what this thing means. I put a lot in there. But anyway, she finally I finally gave her the drawing that was here, and I gave her the fidget cube that I got her, which was my Christmas gift for her, and she really liked it, and she is going to treasure it, hopefully. And if not, then I will. It doesn't hurt my feelings. I mean, I don't really have any monetary value in my art. Like, my art's not something I could profit off of selling. I mean, it's nice, but it's not like, it's not worth any money, because like compared to like what people draw nowadays, like art like this style isn't something that's monetary value. The kids these days wouldn't buy stuff like that. They would buy stuff that's like anime or some shit, like, I don't know, like, it's not my thing.
Anyway, y'all, Yo, what are y'all still doing here? What? Go home. Go home. Go home, but comment, like, and subscribe. I love y'all. I'll see y'all next Friday. Wait, next Friday? No, this Friday. Oh my Lord, dude. Holy